Xavier, the mysterious, innocent-looking, freaky love interest. Favorite thing to do, sleeping and reading. Favorite food, cherries, meat and hot pot. He is the worst at cooking. His jealousy over MC has no bounds, from kids, little animals, the baker, his best friend, and most importantly, himself. It will always be hilarious how much he is jealous of Lumiere. Now his timeline. This is the order of all his currently available anecdotes, world underneath, myth stories at the time of this video. New myth releases will be placed between these stories or before or after. And most of 5-star memories occur in the main story timeline. His first story takes place in the future in Philos. We know that he came from the future to the past in order to change things so that he can save the MC. Xavier is the only guy who is the same person in all these stories and in the current timeline. This is how his entire current life plays out. Okay, now let's get into his lore. I have come up with some theories that could be true or not. If you think something is not adding up, please let me know in the comments below. There is a lot to unpack. The facts are scattered in all the stories, including all memories. I will go in depth his first 2 stories because that's what defines Xavier. We'll start with his anecdote, When Shooting Stars Fall. This is where we believe MC meets Xavier for the first time. The story starts with the MC reminiscing about her first meeting with Xavier 3 years ago in the year 214 in Philos. It's also been 214 years after the Earth's demise. We learn that the Earth's core has been replaced with an artificial core that holds fragmented landmasses together, and as long as this Philos core has energy, the people here will be immortal. But our MC has a rare heart condition that doesn't let her live even a century, so it is only a matter of time before she dies. There seems to be a special protocol that can cure her, but as Philos is huge, she doesn't believe anyone could find it. MC is in an academy, and Xavier was a transfer student. MC was the one sneaking glances at Xavier, who was at the back of the classroom. Xavier recalls this in his branch, saying he was a good student in school, but someone was sneaking glances and making eye contact with him. Xavier has a complicated family background and is always accompanied by bodyguards. The MC is intrigued by Xavier. She is anxious as to how to approach him. As she knows she will die, she takes a chance and asks him to watch a once-in-a-century meteor shower together. He does not agree straight away, not because he doesn't want to, but because of the restrictions that are on him. He has to give up his freedom to be with her. And he does exactly that when he learns about her heart condition. They watch the meteor shower together. This is where MC gifts him the star-shaped sword tassel made by herself. This star tassel holds a lot of meaning to Xavier, as this is what reminds him of his life purpose. And it plays a huge role in his first myth. After the meteor shower, her condition gets worse, and Xavier is nowhere to be found. One day, when she is at the end of her life, she goes back to the place where they watched the meteor shower together and waits for him to return. He comes back, he brings the so-called protocol that can save her, only for her to die in his arms. This is the first time we see Xavier with the red ring of light around his neck with the Ever logo. From the world underneath with light, we learn that this is an evil suppressor. It starts to appear and flickers red when he tries to go beyond a threshold of his evil energy. After he received this, the bodyguards were not behind him anymore. He was given freedom to move around to meet the MC. What I understand here is that whoever put this on him, knows how her evil works by absorbing energy. They use the suppressor so that the MC will not be able to fully absorb his energy when he spends time with her. And I believe Xavier actually learned something about her reincarnations when he went missing and got the red ring of light, because he says these lines when he returned and she was about to die. He is sure that they will meet in the next life, and no matter how many times it takes, no matter where you are, I will find you. Looks like he already learned something, not the whole picture, but part of it. Xavier is seen as someone with no life purpose. He doesn't have any wishes. He is doing swordsmanship because that is the only thing he is good at. He has a high IQ even when not paying attention to classes. He possesses a very strong evil. Even in the current timeline, in the anecdote The Special Vacation, before meeting the MC, we see that all he does is sleep, eat, and fight wanderers at night. And even after meeting the MC, he mostly does is sleep, eat, and fight wanderers. He only does other things because of the MC. He does them to spend time with her. When compared to the other guys who have their own work to do, Xavier's whole life is the MC. Whatever he does is for the MC. In the anecdotes Passing By and World Underneath from the Stars, we learn that a couple of people from Philos has the same appearance as Xavier with the same evil. For some reason, Xavier possesses the strongest light evil out of them. There was something that caught my attention in the last event stories, where he describes his family situation. This happens in a parallel universe, but I am seeing similarities to the current timeline. He is a young heir to a powerful family and doesn't like talking about his family. He says,
"Once I became a predator, they decided to hide me away."
In Philos, he could be one of the test subjects. We know from Find Tobias, using their own children as test subjects is normal to some people. This explains very well why he is accompanied by bodyguards who keep a respectable distance from him. They are trying to hide him. Probably they are tracking Xavier's behavior and shielding him from threats. As we know from Xavier's red ring of light having Eva logo, we know Eva is present in Philos and Eva is known for their various strange experiments. They even published an article of achieving immortality in the current timeline. All people in Philos must have gone through some sort of an enhancement to achieve immortality. What if Xavier is a successful experiment of advanced future Eva? High IQ, strong evil, strong swordsmanship. He sounds like a weapon. Eva is already using protocols to enhance weapons and attempting to enhance evolvers. Maybe this future Eva have kind of successfully achieved how to enhance evolvers or create evolvers, but not totally, because they still need some sort of a drug to keep them alive and in control. In Sealed in Dust and Twilight's Dawn, backtrackers use some sort of a drug when their energy is drained out. And we see one of the backtrackers is converted to a monster, probably a wanderer. This could very well be a side effect of them being an experiment. I think this happens is because they do not have enough of the correct cure from Philos, so they can no longer be human. In Sealed in Dust, we learn a backtracker was given an alternative cure by the present Eva, which is actually trying to take control of him. As we know, some backtrackers have joined Eva. They must be getting the same drug. This alternative drug could also have triggered their transformation because it is not the correct cure from Philos. Notice that in this anecdote, he was not mentioned as the Prince of Philos, but only in his myth Shooting Stars, which takes place after a couple of years. Now, whether Eva is royalty, I am not sure. But from Sealed in Dust, we know Eva has control in deciding who will be the prince, the next king of Philos. Most probably, royalty is not blood related. The king says who wields the light blade is worthy of the crown. Xavier could also have been chosen as Prince, the future king, because he possesses the strongest light evil. In his first myth story, he learns about the dark secret of Starfall Forest, when he killed a wanderer who was once a human. People of Philos have been sacrificed to give energy to the dying Philos core. MC was the perfect sacrifice as she is a true immortal with her endless reincarnations. When Xavier learns this, he refuses to take the crown, realizing that as king, he is obligated to save the planet of Philos. Accepting the crown would mean he would have to sacrifice MC. The little star tassel on Xavier's sword makes the MC jealous of whomever Xavier is keeping dear to him, who has forgotten about him, but he is willing to risk his life in order to save her. As our MC is dumb, even after Xavier gives her a lot of hints, she still doesn't realize she is the only one he likes and is risking his life for. Then the king dies. They go through a mourning period of 200 years. It is likely that Xavier is connected to his father, the king's death, as he changes the legend of Philos to feature a queen instead of a king, making MC the queen of Philos in an attempt to keep her safe in Philos. Xavier, along with his former light seekers and other individuals, form the Backtrackers, hoping to prevent this sacrificial act. They embark on a journey to another timeline as they realize they cannot do it in the current timeline. The Backtrackers Expedition is with what the game's main story starts.
Day 1326. Attention. Target anchor lost. No response from base. Traceback 2 is about to pass the event horizon and enter the black hole.
And as for their destination, at the end of the last chapter of the first main story, we have this.
Traceback 2 will reach the edge of the Deepspace tunnel's umbra within 1 day. Our journey through the Deepspace tunnel begins. Destination is in the Orion arm of the Milky Way. Once the home of humanity, Earth. Activating course correction engine. The final countdown has been initiated.
This is before they enter the Deepspace tunnel, because from his anecdote passing by, we learned that due to the fluctuations in the Deepspace tunnel, their destination coordinates changes. Now, if you focus on the name, Traceback 2. Why is it called Traceback 2? This made me wonder if there was a Traceback 1. As we know from the myth card, space expeditions were quite normal for the light seekers, the star hunters, and the backtrackers. Xavier has been to a number of expeditions before, like when he found Uluru, their planet. After Xavier returns from being missing for 200 years, he tells the MC that he knows the coordinates to the destination and that they have already done short trips which were successful. Of course, Traceback 1 should have been successful because they came back to Philos safely. Having the same name with a different number suggests that their destinations are exactly the same. This is the second time they are going to this place. Earth being their destination is confirmed, but we know the Traceback 2 crashed on Earth. This can only mean they arrived on a different timeline than what they were supposed to land on. And why I am so fixed on Xavier coming to the Earth before is due to a lot of facts. One of the most important and very out there is how he lives just a flow above her. MC questions this from him. Xavier gets anxious and drops that he came here 6 months ago. Like, what? He started living there even before she came to the building. And you know, in the memory celestial message, MC receives a letter addressed to her house from Xavier that was written a long time ago. When MC asked, he just casually says he wrote a random address. He is such a liar. I mean, I understand. How could he ever explain this to MC? the future, the past, time traveling. This is not a coincidence. He knew her address long ago. He knew where she would be living in the future, even before there were wanderers or hunters. He started living a flow about this random address? Who are you trying to fool, Xavier? Also, he is working in the same Alpha team where Captain Jenna recruits the MC. Captain Jenna looks like she knows more than she lets on. Another point is in his trailer.
This is my 214th spring on Earth, and it will be my last.
Notice he says this to himself, not to anyone else. It sounds like he will leave Earth or die after the next spring. But what I noticed is that the year he mentions here coincides with the year in his anecdote when shooting stars fall, which is the year MC and Xavier met, and where MC states it is the 214th year in Philos. Is this actually a hint? I feel like all the years, the chronological details in this space time-traveling story, Love and Deepspace, no matter how confusing, are very important. So this is my theory. What if Xavier is trying to say is that the next spring is when the Earth demises, will be the end of the Earth, making it his last year on Earth. He also says in the trailer,
If there's still time before next spring, let's meet now.
Likely because he knows there won't be an Earth anymore, and he knows that Philos MC has also disappeared, leaving no possibility for them to meet again. Xavier probably knows when this event happens based on traceback 1 from a few years in the future, which differs from the timeline in traceback 2. I believe the recording in the trailer is from their traceback 1.
Our planet has welcomed the 4,389.2 billionth sunrise. The tracker team has returned from Earth. The deep space tunnel will be closed and we shall return to the era before immortality.
They returned to an era before they achieved immortality, which coincides with the current timeline with ever being so close to achieving immortality. Jeremiah, who often accompanied Xavier as the vice captain on his various expeditions, seems unaware of what Xavier knows. Therefore, I think Xavier went on traceback 1 during the 200 years he was missing after the king's death. As the traceback 2 crashed, the backtrackers were stuck living on Earth. They had to change identities in order to not look suspicious, as they don't age as humans do because they are immortal. With time, backtrackers have fallen apart as they have become accustomed to the life on Earth where there are no fluctuations, no wanderers. For them, this was a calm, peaceful world. They eventually fell in love and wanted to live normal lives. Xavier being trained swordsmanship from age 3 only to be stuck on a planet where there are no wanderers for about 200 years, he had to get odd identities like being a policeman in order to survive on Earth. The poor guy only knows how to wield a sword. Xavier's story is very intense. He had to live through a lot, and he has seen a lot of people coming and going out of his life. His entire life, he has only suffered, and he keeps waiting for the MC to appear on Earth. His whole life purpose is the MC. She is his guiding starlight. It is also the other way around. Xavier has been the light to the MC when he saved her from the Starfall Forest and various times when she fights wanderers. We know Xavier, with his light evil, can teleport to anywhere he wants. However, there is a place where he would slow down, a signal station secretly built by Lincoln. From Memory's silvery polyphony, we learned that this tower can receive cosmic messages from outer space. I believe it is the same tower. In the main story's last chapter, we learned this tower receives signals from another universe.
When Alpha PO-159's light shines through the deep space tunnel, illuminating Lincoln Tower's pinnacle, The closest we've been to it in the last 4.6 billion years. This galaxy's name is derived from the old word philo. It's the most exquisite gem in deep space. Philos.
Xavier hints that the past, present, and future all coexist at the same time. This signal station receives signals from Philos. Yes, Philos coexist. The shape in this image is what appears almost everywhere in the game, from protofields to flux nexus, in places in Philos. Even Xavier created this pattern with his light evo to try to see if MC is familiar with it. This shape could be related to Xavier. Maybe it represents royalty in Philos. Philos is way more connected to the current Earth than we think it is. And let me remind you, Philos appears in all the love interest myths, making it crucial to all storylines, not just Xavier's. Traceback 2 crashed in this forest, possibly caused by the tower reacting and acting like a magnet. This tower is where the Earth received its first signal from the Deepspace tunnel when it appeared in 2034 and wanderers started to land on Earth. This is what we know as the chronolift catastrophe. This forest is now what is called the no-hunt zone with the highest metaflux index and is where Starfall Forest would be in this timeline. During the chronolift catastrophe, Xavier acquires a new identity as Lumiere. Most probably, Xavier knew this catastrophe would happen from Traceback 1. Also, the reason why he faked his death in order to leave his identity as a policeman at the end of the year 2033 was because he was anticipating the catastrophe would occur at any moment in 2034. This proves he knew and wanted to be ready for the catastrophe. He saves child MC and instantly knows this child is the MC. Now, the chronolift catastrophe, I don't think it was caused by Xavier and the backtrackers traversing through the deep space tunnel, jinxing it somehow. Even if he did not come, the catastrophe would happen. When you think about the other boys as the love interest, Xavier may or may not have come to the Earth when he is not the one in love with the MC, but I think he probably would have come when he heard about an unknown girl being sacrificed in Philos for them to live. Remember, this is an otome game. There is only one love interest, whomever you choose. The others become supporting roles. Xavier could have come to save an unknown girl when the other boys are the love interest. This chronolift catastrophe is a major event in all love interest stories. It is actually quite funny how Xavier and MC fights wanderers together in Philos and also fights wanderers together on Earth. This wouldn't be possible if it isn't for the chronolift catastrophe. If it didn't happen, there would be no wanderers, so no hunters. MC would be doing another job and Xavier would not have been able to relive the time he spent sparring with the Philos MC. So in a way, the catastrophe was actually favoring Xavier. In the main story, Xavier is seen searching for certain protocols that are not easy to be found.
This isn't it.
As the story progresses, we learn that there are a number of ether cores present. In the Voyage of Outcast, he mentions he is not sure how many ether cores are there. He must be trying to locate other ether cores and trying to find the protocol that can cure her. Various points in the game suggest the ether core's power is far beyond. I think the Earth's demise might be connected to the awakening of the MC's ether core. I could be wrong, it's just an idea that popped up in my mind. Some backtrackers call Xavier a traitor. He doesn't let anyone near MC until the right time, probably until the time she awakens. I am very curious as to what the backtrackers wanted to accomplish coming to this timeline. Was it to get her ether core? Or was it to stop Earth's demise so that there won't be a Philos anymore? In the Voyage of Outcast, Xavier says he doesn't want to save Philos.
To survive. Doesn't deserve to be saved.
Is this why Xavier is seen as a traitor by the backtrackers? And if Earth's demise is related to MC's awakening, are they here to stop her awakening? Is Xavier trying to locate the ether core so that she will not be able to absorb their energies? The more you dive deep in the story, the more questions start appearing. His myth, Twilight Dawn, is where we see Xavier's struggles in living on Earth. There are people trying to catch him. This myth is what made me realize how little amount of people actually knows about Xavier and are not a threat to him. People like Professor Ulysses, the police colleague, and probably also Captain Jenna, of course Jeremiah. I am happy for Xavier that he has at least these people that he can depend on, when even his own people keep betraying him. His branch, Voyage of the Outcast, is where another one of his backtrackers who betrayed him attempts to catch him. This Soren has gone to extremes such as changing his appearance and hiding his evil so that he can catch Xavier off guard. He creates an illusion of the starfall forest of Philos. MC hears Xavier speaking to her, which happened in his first mid-story Shooting Stars in Philos when the future MC was getting consumed by the forest. Soren knows Xavier's worst fear is the MC being sacrificed to Philos. His branch occurs after the mid-Twilight's Dawn because MC is aware of the spaceship in the no-hunt zone but doesn't know what it is since Xavier lied. They arrive in a place where the spaceship is intact and not a wreckage. Because this illusion created is when the backtrackers were getting ready in Philos before embarking on the journey to the Earth. A fun thing that happens in his branch is when MC accidentally flips a switch on the spacecraft. It plays a poem read by Xavier.
Celestial body of mine, slumbering adrift in darkness.
It was recorded when Xavier logged his days on Traceback 2 Journey. The 4-star memory in the game Starry Sound, Secret Time has this full poem he recorded saying he misses the MC of Philos.
It's not me.
It was hilarious reading this scene.
No.
I wonder what would have happened if MC heard him saying, I miss you. How will he explain that he actually missed her future self? Xavier has to keep a lot of things hidden. His branch is where MC learns about his connection to the spaceship and him as someone from another universe. She already had hunches in other memories like in Celestial Message, but here she confirms. MC feels she got a bit closer to this mysterious Xavier. That is all I have for Xavier. Xavier hides many things. He lies with his cute, innocent face, like who wouldn't believe him? The MC in the game continuously mentions that he is a liar. Of course he is. The theories I came up with, they could be true or not. There could be more hidden things in the stories that I missed and did not cover here. Please let me know in the comments. And I will be doing other love interest lore and theories pretty soon. Rafayel or Zane. For Silas and Caleb, we have less material to base on, so I will do my best to analyze and come up with theories for them. If you are looking forward to them, consider subscribing and leave a like. Until then, this is Ari's Haven. Hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching.